I'm 82 years old, and the most important conversation of my life never happened. Not because I forgot, not because I didn't care, but because I kept telling myself there would be time later. I'm sitting at the same kitchen table where I ate breakfast for nearly 40 years. The wood is worn smooth where my elbows used to rest. The house is quiet now, too quiet. People think regret comes from the terrible things we do. They're wrong. The worst regret comes from the words we never said and the silence we mistook for peace. This is the story of that silence and the conversation I waited too long to have. The past. Before the mistake. I was 27 years old in 1971, young enough to believe time was endless, old enough to think I already understood the world. Back then, I believed in forward motion, progress, stability. I believed that if I kept my head down and worked hard, everything else would fall into place. My father didn't believe in talking things through. He believed in getting things done. He worked at the steel plant just outside town, left the house every morning at 5:10 a.m., came home smelling like metal and sweat and cigarettes. We didn't hug in my family. We nodded. We sat at the same table every night. My mother served meatloaf or stew. My father read the paper, and silence filled the spaces where questions should have been. I told myself that was normal. When I married Sarah in 1974, I promised myself I'd be different, more present, more open. But promises are easy when life is simple. By the time our son Michael was born, I was already working late, telling myself it was temporary, telling myself I was doing it for them. Every night, Sarah would ask, "Can we talk?" And I'd say, "Not tonight. I'm exhausted." I didn't notice the way her voice changed over the years, softer, more careful, like she was afraid of asking for too much. I thought love was understood. I thought silence meant stability. I was wrong. The turning point, the conversation that almost happened. It was November of 1989. I remember because the first snow came early that year. I had just turned 45. Midlife, they call it now. Back then, I just called it busy. Sarah was standing at the kitchen sink. The same sink, hands in soapy water, the radio low in the background. She didn't turn around when she spoke. "Do you ever wonder," she said slowly, "what happens if we keep going like this?" I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because laughter was easier than honesty. "We're fine," I said. "Everyone's tired at our age." She dried her hands, turned to face me, and for the first time in years, she looked directly at me. "No," she said, "this isn't tired." There it was, the moment. I felt something tighten in my chest. Words rose up. Fearful words. Honest words. I wanted to say I felt lost. That I didn't know how to talk anymore. That I was afraid if I stopped moving, everything would fall apart. But instead, I checked my watch. "I have a meeting early tomorrow," I said. "We'll talk later." She nodded. Just once. That night, she slept facing the wall. I told myself we'd talk on the weekend. Then the weekend came and went. Weeks passed, then months. Life, as it always does, filled the silence. The consequences. Years passing. Sarah left 3 years later. Not dramatically, no shouting, no slammed doors. She packed while I was at work, left a note on the counter. 6 words. "I needed you to hear me." I stood in that kitchen for a long time, the refrigerator humming, the clock ticking. I told myself it wasn't all my fault, that marriages fail all the time, that she should have been clearer. That's the lie we tell ourselves when the truth hurts too much. Michael grew up, moved away, called on holidays. I stayed busy, promotions, long hours. People said I was successful. At night, I ate dinner standing up. Didn't want to sit at the table alone. My father died in 2002. Heart attack. Quick, they said. At the funeral, I stood by his casket, looked at his hands, the same hands that never held me, and suddenly, I understood him. He didn't know how to speak either. That's when it hit me. This silence wasn't just mine. It was inherited, and I had passed it on. The wisdom. Present day. Now I'm 82. My hands shake when I pour coffee. My hearing isn't what it used to be, but my memory is sharp where it hurts. I've replayed that night in 1989 more times than I can count. The sink, the radio, her voice, the conversation that could have changed everything. I thought avoiding pain would protect us, but all it did was delay it and multiply it. Here's what I know now. Love doesn't disappear all at once. It fades in the pauses, in the later, in the conversations postponed until there's no one left to talk to. If I could speak to that younger man, I wouldn't tell him to work less, or earn more, or be braver. I'd tell him to stay in the discomfort, to let the silence break, to answer the question when it's asked, not when it's too late. Some conversations don't repeat, and silence has a memory longer than love. If someone in your life has been waiting for you to listen, don't finish this video. Go sit with them. Say the awkward thing. Ask the hard question. You still have time. I don't. If this story stayed with you, subscribe. There are things worth learning before it's too late.